So you may be wondering what's gone on with the Noble Ape development since the last video, and actually quite a bit has gone on. A couple of bits of general housekeeping. The active development, the active source code development of Noble Ape is being hosted now on GitLab. So I moved everything off GitHub to GitLab, obviously with the Microsoft acquisition, and my interest is actually to be in a space with the maximum number of active developers of a similar perspective to me. So the movement away from GitHub was just an obvious thing. Hit up Bob Mottram, longtime Noble Ape developer and contributor. He said, go to GitLab. I was like, okay, I'll go to GitLab. So all the source code has moved on to GitLab, and that's the first piece of administrative work that's gone on with Noble Ape. The second piece of administrative work that's gone on with Noble Ape is Apple stopped supporting OpenGL. Now, for a majority of the Noble Ape developments, that's really easy. It's just, well, it's not really easy. It's an evening and a bit's worth of work to move everything over. I'm using Core Graphics currently. I'll probably move to Metal in sometime in the next year or so, but Core Graphics at least means it can go forward. Noble Ape, most of Noble Ape was originally run on Core Graphics anyway. I only moved it to OpenGL probably about 6, maybe 7 years ago, just to make things slightly faster. So that's that administrative piece of work. The only piece which isn't currently on Core Graphics is associated with the Mushroom Boy, which will probably be rebranded. I'll talk about that in a little bit of time. But the Mushroom Boy will be is in a deprecated state. So I just need to work out whether I move to Metal, which I'll probably do, or move to Core Graphics and move all the primitives, all the little bits and pieces to draw all the interesting stuff in the Mushroom Boy over to one of those two. Anyway, so that's to be continued. But I don't really need to make a choice in about a year because Apple's given a year's worth of time to get off OpenGL. So that's administrative work. In addition to this, I'm spending a considerable amount of time creating a new universe for some of my other bits of intellectual property. So for a variety of reasons, various things associated with timelines and things like that, and also characters didn't work with the previous intellectual property. So I'm moving a bunch of other stuff, and you can find it on Wikipedia. So if you just Wikipedia me, you'll see the other intellectual property work that I work on other than Noble Ape. Moving that into a universe, for want of a better term, that's basically more coherent and has, you know, more linking characters and changing up some of the underlying characters. So that's taken a bit of time as well. That's a lot of writing time, keyboard, actually writing text time. So that's a little bit boring, but that's taking my time as well, which is taken away from the Noble Ape development. But in the past 2 months, I've released both a bunch of legacy audio, which had historically been out there. You can buy it on CDs and various other things, but I moved it to the standard now, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, all those kind of things. So you can now get Noble Ape music, historical Noble Ape music, and for 22 years of Noble Ape, which is June 13th, just passed, I released a single associated with 22 years of Noble Ape. And that is also available through Spotify, Apple Music, all the places that you regularly get music. And because it was a single, I put a couple of small tracks on either side. Now, my plan in the long term, because I'm creating this new intellectual property to hold my non-Noble Ape related stuff, is actually to create music for that as well. So most of my music creation is more in the genre of kind of classical jazz than it is in the genre of rap or anything like that. When the single I put out is, I guess, loosely classified in the rap genre. So what I've done is I'm going to be investing more time in actually creating music. Now I've released three separate, I don't know, containers with however many tracks, probably about a dozen tracks in those 3 separate containers. I now get a sense of how to do this thing, and I want to be doing classical and jazz music going forward. So I'll just release some more music through this format for the new intellectual property that I'm working on currently. So that's the update. More music, more music, more music. Slight slowdown in the Noble Ape development, but probably I'll be done with this thing maybe about 2-3 months' time, and I'll be straight back into Noble Ape. And I'm going to do little bits and pieces with Noble Ape over the next 3 months without question. I mean, I still work on it at least, I don't know, 3-4 times a week in the evenings. It's been an ongoing development for 22 years, which in and of itself is just something worth noting, something amazing. Anyway, so I wanted to give a video update at least to the stuff that's going on with Noble Ape currently, so folks who are tracking this thing can get a sense of what's going on, and folks that have subscribed through YouTube and these kind of things, more power to you. This is the update.